There were 5 games on Thursday, and guess what? Another random bloke out of the rotation, starters sitting. How did we go with it? Let's find out. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and do you know what today is? The vernal equinox. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Also, go to lockedondaily.com. Sign up for your best or the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. It's free and it's in your inbox 5 days a week. We are also here getting you to subscribe and to comment and to share on the old YouTubes and on the audio side of it as well. Not only is it vernal equinox time, it is World Poetry Day. So if you're a big poetry guy, just knocking out a few haikus or sonnets, today's the day. Drop a sonnet. There you go. In the comments, drop a sonnet as an ode to your least favorite fantasy basketball player. Comments. Haiku or sonnet. It can be an iambic pentameter. Try that again. Iambic pentameter. That's how you say that word. And that is the end of my knowledge on poetry. But drop it in the comments below. All right, let's get a little bit of news out of the way. We've got some updates on Friday with 10 games on. The big chungus himself, Nikola Jokic, is out again. I know that this is incredibly frustrating. First week of playoffs, finals week of playoffs, whatever it is. God, man, we've got to make it before All-Star break. I don't know, people will say that all the time. I am going to do a full study on this sort of stuff after the season, and we're going to assess a bunch of things. Somebody like Jokic, who has been incredibly durable for big parts of his career, getting injured right now, has nothing to do with the fantasy playoffs. It's unfortunate timing. This could have happened on December the 20th. It could have happened on January the 4th. The same as Jalen Brunson getting hurt. The same as Tyrese Halliburton getting hurt. These are all just happening now. Now, the part of the problem can be is that as you play the season through and you're six months in, things build up. Now, there wasn't a specific thing with Jokic that we saw an incident. There was with Halliburton and there was with Brunson, obviously. But he's injured. And this is a team, they're not coasting. They're not flying. They're not at the top of the standings. They're battling to keep home court advantage, both of those teams. And they can't play their best players for 3 games in a row because they're actually banged up and completely injured. Jokic could barely move. He's had this thing on his elbow the whole way through, right? That situation is not really solved by changing playoff dates. It's just unlucky that these injuries are happening literally right now. That's just what it is. These are not teams 12 games up. These are the teams that, hey, if I lose one more game, we lose home court advantage in the first round. So they need to be out there. Larry Markkanen's a different story. But he's been resting since November. So again, doesn't really change anything, does it, in that sort of a spot. Markkanen's out again. Personal reasons now. Okay, cool. Jalen Brown's out again. Now that one, of course, he has actually been banged up big portions of this season. He's had missed games sort of dotted throughout with the knee, and his player's actually been way off. So that's interesting. The Bronco is out, again, a legitimate injury. And then Ja Morant is out again with the hamstring soreness, the sorest hamstring in the world. Not a strain. We're talking about soreness. He's out again. So I highlight those because they're important players, but also nothing changes because these guys have all been out. These are not new injuries. You hoped they'd come back, but Jokic, Markkanen, Brown, Williams, and Morant, they're all out again. So we just keep cracking back the way we have in the other games that they've missed. But it would be good that they come back, but they're not. All right, off for the Thunder, by the way, Dort also remains out because his was a legitimate injury, whereas Shea and Hartenstein wasn't. Let's look at some waiver wire trends. I reckon that might be a good way to go about this now. The most added players, the most dropped players. We can laugh at the mistakes that people have made, including you and including me. The most added player is the big dog himself in Washington. Yeah, it's Tristan Vukcevic, who I just don't know. There are 3 teams that we are going to be guessing and chasing our tails on all the way through here, I think. Utah, I don't know that we're going to be guessing as much. Their rotations tend to be actually they're a bit guessy, but Toronto's is going to be a mess. Philadelphia is going to be a mess, and Washington is going to be a mess. And the two teams, Washington and Philadelphia in particular, they have a very set goal. They need to try and lose every single game. Philadelphia wants to get themselves into the 5th worst record slot so they can keep their pick. Washington wants to keep the number 1 slot. Utah's just all over the place. Dallas has got weird players, but that's because no one's there, so the roles are relatively secure. And Toronto's sort of mixing and matching stuff because they've got just a schedule against every bad team in the world. And they don't want to luck into too many wins and make the play-in, I'm guessing. So, I say Vukcevic, like, fine, but honestly, I don't know. Kevin Huerter, with Josh Giddey, the Bulls, I guess, again, they are rising up to the top of my list of shitless teams in terms of injury reporting. Because, Josh Giddey, he might play. Oh, will he? You literally told us he wouldn't play, and now it's like, he's questionable. Now he's out again. So Kevin Huerter gets that opportunity. I don't know why Giddey came off the bench yesterday, but we'll see whether that continues. But Huerter's fine for now. How about Ultimate Stream legend Daquan Jeffries? The big fella went off again. I wouldn't count our blessings for tomorrow, but who knows? Aaron Neesmith with Halliburton out. We're in. People streaming in Yves Missi is interesting. He was very good last game, and the schedule does make sense, so I get it. And then Jackson Hayes. Yeah, he just should be rostered in 12s at this point. And then the most drop players. People did get absolutely frustrated with Justin Champagnie, and I get it. 19 minutes after his bench for AJ Johnson and then 0? That's incredibly frustrating. The reason that I would have held on to Justin Champagnie in majority of cases is there is one team playing a Friday, said they're back-to-back, and it's the Washington Wizards. I have no idea. Is he going to play 60 minutes combined? Will he play 40 minutes combined? Will he get a 0? I don't know. But I also, like, even if he does get 20 minutes, if you get 40 minutes out of holding him, that's not terrible. Because you can't actually get that out of any other player on the waiver wire across those 2 days. You can't do it. No other team plays too good. Well, you could if you added Colby Jones or AJ Johnson. So I would have, my thought on Champagnie was just to wait and we'll just see what happens on Friday. But I also get it if you wanted to move on. Moses Moody was dropped. He actually retained the starting job today, and Quinton Post moved to the bench. Trey Murphy's done for the year, of course. Brandon Williams, he's injured. I wouldn't bother with him. Chris Middleton was dropped. He's actually returning tomorrow. I think the minutes will be low. And then Kessler Edwards has 1 game left. Easy drops on all of those guys there. Again, apart from the Champagnie one where there was a little bit of, I guess, discussion or consternation. Otherwise, pretty okay. First game. Blowout, of course it was. It was Hornets and Knicks. It was going to be, no way, other way around, hey? Charlotte 115, New York 98. The Knicks, without Brunson, not very good, are they? And when the Knicks are healthy, and I know this is a little bit disingenuous, maybe, no, it's not really, because in the offseason, the thing I looked at the Knicks, oh man, they are, this is the shallowest team I've ever seen in my life. They're going to have to go playoff rotation all season, meaning they've got no extra gear for the playoffs. They're going to wear their players down, and that gives them absolutely no room for buffering or balance on their roster. And Tibbs will never give his players an opportunity to do anything, and that'll cause problems. So Brunson goes down, and guys like Tyler Kolek, not to say he's a game changer, but he doesn't play. Nobody plays on this team. And Brunson down, they're just copping bad loss left, right, and center. And I'm very, very confident it's the wrong word, because I have to wait and see how the playoffs look. I don't think the Knicks are getting past round 2. They might not even get past round 1, because this is a common problem with Tom Thibodeau, is that you play at a level in the regular season and then you get to the playoffs and it's just the same. Because you can't increase minutes, you can't increase intensity, you can't narrow the rotation, your guys are exhausted, you can't do anything. It's an insane way to go about it. It's honestly crazy. Anyway, they lost 98 to 115. They rolled out the same starting lineup the old Knickerbockers did. And I don't know what we can talk about here. We can talk about the merits of holding on to Miles McBride, who had 9 points on 40% shooting. He did have 6 assists and a block. He played 36 minutes. And the reason you would want to hold on to Juicy is the fact that he played 36 minutes. I know he hasn't been very good. That's obvious, right? He hasn't been blowing us away at all. But I think that he's probably worth a hold. But as we like to say, or I like to say, and maybe you don't say it and maybe you dislike it, I don't know, is that if they are your worst player, piss them off. Like that, piss them off. If they are your worst player, you do not hold them. I mean, you can hold them for the games they play, and then just get somebody else in, and then somebody else, and then go back to them again, and then get somebody else. And the further you go into the playoffs, the fewer teams that are active in your league. So the risk of that guy being grabbed by somebody else. Also, if the player's in the midst of a bad schedule period and your opponent grabs him, that's a W for you. It's a massive W, because it means they're going to get 1 game over 4 nights. If that's the reason you dropped him, you go, hey, here you go. And I'm going to use that spot and get 4 games in W. We're cooking here. If your opponent doesn't know what they're doing. But often people will have that fear. What if I drop him, he'll get scooped up? Good. Good. Go and scoop up CJ McCollum when I drop him because he's bad. And now the schedule's bad. Do it. Go and scoop up Kyle Kuzma. You go for it. I'll give him to you directly. I'd do a trade. Kuzma for nothing if you want. Just so you can have him. Take him. It's like the mole. Townsy had 24 and 10, and Anunoby had 25 and 6 actually, with 3 threes and 3 steals. Horrendous shooting from OG, and that's been a really rough period for him shooting-wise. The counting stats are good. Well, Joshy Hart had 13, 4 and 6, and Bridges 16, 4 and 6, but that's a lot of time for me to talk about the Knicks when they're just the most boring team in the world. No Mitch Robinson on the back-to-back. Please don't bother with him in 12-team leagues. And then Precious Achiuwa, absolutely justifying my take that he's terrible. He had 2 points in 17 minutes. Let's talk Hornets, because what is going on here? Now, they play again tomorrow. I would be very, very surprised if Mark Williams and LaMelo Ball played tomorrow. We'll find out. LaMelo Ball returned to this one. Damian Boyd moved to the bench, while Miles Bridges returned, and that moves Seth Curry to the bench. What about Mark Williams? 31 minutes, 19, 14, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. It is really important, and this stuff just gets... I think it gets washed away a little bit. Remember when the failed trade happened? And there was a lot of people who would come and ask questions. Man, like, I just drop him now. Yeah, he's done for the season. He must be done. He's hurt. He's not going to play again for this organization. He's going to demand a trade, or he's too hurt to play. No. Like, we've got to be really cautious about the way we interpret a lot of stuff. That one was obvious to interpret, but it doesn't mean that everyone finds it that way. 19 and 14 with 3 blocks. After obviously really slow start from Mark Williams, he's like the 13th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. He's almost a top 50 guy in the year. LaMelo, bad start, had 3 fouls in 7 minutes. So he only played 28. Guess how many fouls he got for the rest of the game? Yeah, 1. Cool. Good work. Not Will. Who's the coach on this team? Charles Lee. That's right. Willie Green's New Orleans. The Hornets messing me up. 25, 5 and 8 for LaMelo. Didn't shoot that well, but overall that's one of his better recent games because he hasn't been playing very well. And again, my man. How? I put this man on the front of either the waiver wire show or the weekly preview show and went, Am I really about to do it? Like, am I really putting Daquan Jeffries out here as the man that I'm putting out for Hornets week? Apparently I am. 14 points, 3 threes, 4 rebounds, and a steal for the big fella. One of the most elite streams that you could ever luck into. Will it hold? I don't know, but I actually don't care anymore because if you got him for the 3 games in 4 nights, you've already got 2 bangers. And that one tomorrow, if he has 4, 2, and 1, you actually still come out as a huge W. Just unbelievable that happened, that worked. Miles Bridges, 15 and 10. We actually got a good Nick Smith game. Just put that one in the Smithsonian. Hey, his name's Smith, yeah? 13, 4 and 3 with 2 threes. He didn't shoot well, of course. Well, we didn't want to break that streak. Otherwise, the numbers are pretty good. And tomorrow, maybe we get a bump there for Nicky Smith. There was no Boyd in this game because they're holding on to his 2-way days, meaning I think he plays 30 minutes tomorrow and becomes at least interesting in streaming. And I cannot believe that Moussa Diabate played. I thought he looked cooked. All right, he played. He only played 12 minutes. And Nurkic played 15. But they're going to play tomorrow. I'm guessing Williams. Imagine if Mark Williams and the Ball play tomorrow on the back-to-back. I will explode. I'll implode maybe. I would go Nurkic over Diabate tomorrow, but it'll be something to watch. Also, they're just cutting Josh Green's minutes down. 21 minutes for Greeny here. Not playing well would be an understatement. Today's episode is brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts that are ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. You might need extra hands for a project, or you might need a long-term partner. Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Finding that right talent is easy, so you need that help with that marketing campaign. Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert delivering incredible results. And the growth is cost effective. Like you could, instead of hiring full time, you're just hiring an affordable top tier freelancers to help you scale your business efficiently. I want to hire someone to help me teach me how to say the word freelancers. See how we go. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with talent, top talent, and grow your business today. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. March Madness is here. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before right now. New customers, you can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 dues to use on Cinderella stories, upsets, favorites beating down on small schools who only recruit from the northern corner of Wyoming. Whatever it is, the bets are there. Shout out to you if you live in the northern corner. Although, if it's northern, it's not a corner, is it? Let's say the northeastern corner of Wyoming. If you live there, shout out to you. But that's not what FanDuel's about. FanDuel is about getting the bonus bets, getting the wins, and getting your money paid out instantly when you win. So go to FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Let's go to the second game, the Indiana Pacers and the Brooklyn Nets. We go to overtime. The Pacers win 105-99. There was no Cam Johnson this one. Again, I try my best, and you're going to hear more about this later. I try my best to try and understand an NBA, because there's a lot that I know this is a job that I have that a lot of people will find fun. It is fun. I love it. It's a great job, right? But there's a lot that goes into it, and it does drain the shit out of my brain doing this, because I've got to try and figure out, okay, how do I, Josh Lloyd, doing this job for many years, as many hours I spend doing it, how do I view the talent of the player? How do I translate the talent and their overall production into fantasy value and relativity and all that sort of stuff? And then I also have to go, hey, but what does the coach think? How does the coach view it? How does the coach view this play? What's the coach's play style? What do they think they're going to do in this particular moment? And then I also go, oh, what about the organization? How does the GM view this thing? What's the ownership and the management structure? How are they going to be playing this? And then put myself in my own shoes, which, again, being in my own brain is very much uncomfortable enough. And then going into the coach's head, going into a player's head, going into a general manager's head, going into an owner's head, I've got to do all of that stuff. And then you try and do it, and you go, oh yeah, I'm happy. I think I know how this result looks. It makes a lot of sense. And the Nets come out and go, all right, 5 games, 7 nights, Cam Johnson, you've been injured a million times. How about you play all 5 of those games? Sounds good. But the one after that, you sit out. What? Sorry, 2 after that. But also, the one before the 5 games and 7 nights, you rest that one as well. We're going to load you up so we can cram as many games into this period. Don't take one off in the middle. That would make too much sense. Just play like as crazy as possible. Hey, here's an area where it's actually not many games, so just don't play it. Every game jammed in together. I want you there every night playing the most minutes you've played all season, my guy. And I'll tell you now, I'm going to make that mistake 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000, because I'm never going to sit there and go, yeah, it would make sense on a 5-game week that the injury-prone player plays all of them, but he sits the games on the either side. That makes the most sense. Of course it doesn't. So anyway, Cam Johnson rested in this game, and that meant that we got an extra start from Jalen Wilson, who I am. There are a lot of players I have roller coasters on. I did not like Jalen Wilson at all as a college prospect coming into the NBA. I go, nothing here. Undrafted, I think I had him. Didn't like him at all. Then he came in and he started getting minutes. I went, okay. All right, he's looking all right. He's looking better. Maybe there is something here. Nah, don't think so. 0 points, 19 minutes, missed all 4 of his shots. It's been an incredibly terrible season from him. Just really, really bad. So he got the start. But we want to talk good stuff. Zaire Williams stepped up. This is a top 10 pick a couple of years ago. Should he have been? Probably not. But doesn't matter. He was. And he had 22 points with 6 threes and 2 steals and shot really well. Now, he will not shoot this well. But he's probably going to start rest of season. And if we're talking about who do we take a flyer on, his inconsistency is not as bad as what Keon Johnson's is. So, yeah, interesting. Speaking of Keon Johnson and inconsistency, 6 points in 28 minutes. Now, what I do like is he played 28 minutes, and he's a very consistent player at getting steals. You could also say he's inconsistent at shooting terribly because he shot 17%, and that seems to happen a lot. And that's risky, but the steals are there. Trent Watford almost certainly getting suspended. So you look at this game where he had 15 and 5, 27 minutes, and you go, oh, okay, what are we doing there? Now, that's obviously boosted by Cam being out, but he basically punched Miles Turner in the neck. Like, he's not playing the next game. He's missing a few here, so don't worry about that too much. And then we got Claxton with just 31 minutes in overtime and Day'Ron Sharpe playing 23. Okay, that's interesting. Sharpie had 6 and 9 with 2 blocks, while Claxton continues to be an incredible disappointment. 6 and 14 with 2 blocks. I don't think you rostered a Day'Ron Sharpe in 12s, honestly, because he's just not doing enough. But that minute split was interesting. And then the other thing, again, we try and figure out what's going on. Okay, D'Angelo Russell, 24, 24, back-to-back off. 24, 24, back-to-back off. 24, 24, back-to-back off. 3 games in a 5-game week. Okay, no worries. Oh, yeah, and by the way, now, can you play 32 minutes for us? Okay. Why? Is it Cam Thomas being out? Because the other games that Cam Thomas sat, D'Lo didn't play that many minutes. So, again, it's just another reassembly of our reality. Another band name, if you want to use that, fantasy team name. The reassembling of our reality. The reality reassemblers. I don't know. Something. I can't even remember what the one I said yesterday was. I know it was something to do with minutia. What am I talking about? It's Friday and I've lost my mind. Going to the footy tonight though, so I'll see you at the MCG. Who cares about any of that stuff? D'Angelo Russell, 22, 1 and 6. Do you add D'Lo if he's there? I still don't trust it. I just don't. He took 22 shots. He shot horribly. What if he just plays 24 minutes the next game? It's possible. It is D'Lo though. So if push came to shove and D'Lo was sitting on the waiver wire, I'd probably grab him. But man, it's just so hard to try and figure out the way and the pattern of this stuff. I do like that Tyrese Martin played 31 minutes. I don't like that he shot 13%. He did have 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. So if you just shot like a normal person, the line would have been okay. I'd much prefer him to Jalen Wilson. And at some point, I'm guessing that they're going to bring Tosan Ebouamwan back from the grave. I guess. Is he working night shift? Like, where is he? I'm sure he'll be back soon. And then we'll reassess when that comes up. Shall we go on to the Pacers side of this game? We probably should. That's a nice way to go about this now. The Indiana Pacers had no Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, it's been a very weird season from Halliburton. Struggled early on, was rolling as like the top 5 player for the last 5 weeks, and now back injury and out again. So, yeah. And this is, someone left a comment on the video that said, man, you started bashing Ben Mathurin. He's been awesome. Yeah, that's right. I still don't think Ben Mathurin's a very good player, and I don't think he's going to transition into a very good NBA player. But the 3 games that Tyrese Halliburton is out, the man has been unbelievably good. 28 points for Mathurin, 16 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 threes, 39 minutes. If you drop Ben Mathurin, which I highly suggested you should get him off your team absolutely immediately post-haste, I believe you made the 100% correct decision. And if you don't believe that you made the correct decision, I think you're working with absolutely perfect hindsight, which is an impossible way to go about this. Because before the 3 games that Halliburton was out, you know what Mathurin did? 6 points in 12 minutes. The game before that, 5 points in 15 minutes. The game before that, 17 points, but 22 minutes. The game before that, 5 points in 23 minutes. Cool? He went absolutely crazy, going 22, 23, and 28 points the last 3 games with no Tyrese Halliburton. His shot attempts went from a combined 10, the 2 previous games, to 17, 12, and 17. So, again, if you had any idea that Halliburton was missing, good for you, and you added him, but we didn't. Nobody knew that. Mathurin was just completely out of favor. And now he's back in favor. And that happens. So, as long as Halliburton's out, we can stream him. And then we do the same with Aaron Nesmith, 14 and 6 with 2 steals. We talked about the Mathurin collective for a while. If all of these guys are there, Mathurin, Halliburton, Nesmith, and Nembhard, Halliburton will have value. But the other 3, they won't. One of them goes out, they all can have value. Now, Nembhard didn't have great value here, 9, 3, and 4. In fact, he also had 6 turnovers and copped his 2nd ejection for the week. I don't think he's going to get suspended or anything. But, like, he didn't play well, but Nesmith did. Mathurin did. They're all got enough value while Halliburton's out, but it's while Halliburton's out. The thing that's unfortunate is in the past, when Halliburton would go, we'd be like, all right, let's go. Is it Nembhard or is it McConnell? Who do we go with? And with Mathurin playing like this, we don't even really seem to worry about McConnell. He wasn't, like, dreadful. I mean, he actually, no, he was. 7, 1 and 1 for McConnell with 2 steals. But in the past, we'd go, all right, here's 25 minutes for TJ. Would they even start him is some of the questions we would ask. But now we never even think about that. He's just a bench player still. Pascal Siakam, that's pretty rough, my guy. 6 and 6 with 5 assists, while Obi Toppin played 18 minutes. And I said the other day, if you added Obi Toppin with Siakam back, it's incredibly wrong, an incorrect move. Is incorrect even the right term? I think you get what I'm going at. He's a reserve player that will get better production if Siakam is out. Simple as that. Miles Turner bounced back after a 22-minute game last time out. He had 23 and 10 here with 2 threes and 5 blocks and shot 73%. And I think we're going to hear about his name later on, maybe, in the lines of the night. Maybe. I haven't decided who they're going to be, but just keep an eye on him when we get to that portion of the show. Not there yet. A couple more games to talk about. Today's episode is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Daylight saving is there. Do you call saving or savings? We'll call it savings for this one, but you feel that. You lose an hour of sleep. Where'd it go? It's not coming back. Well, maybe you can make up for it with 5 Hour Energy. It's got your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need that little boost to power through. You might be staying up late watching NCAA tournament games. You might be playing a bit of extra golf. You might just be doing extra things, socializing. We know that can wind down your battery. All that stuff is there, and 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. So many different flavors. In fact, over 15 flavors to choose from, including Tropical Burst, Watermelon, Blue Raspberry, Peach Mango. You can stay up later, get that little boost, keep you active, keep you focused through the day as well, and grab them on the go. Convenience is there. Keep yourself feeling refreshed. So head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Or if you need one now, you grab a 5-Hour Energy at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Yeah, 5-Hour Energy.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right. We've got 3 more games to go, including just a bunch of revenge games. And the next game is going to be the Bulls and the Kings, and that's just littered with revenge game chances. All right, let's look at the outcomes of the revenge game. Chicago Bulls and Sacramento Kings. The Bulls rolled out the same starting lineup because, again, they pump-faked us on Josh Giddey. No, he might play. No, he won't. So they had the same starting lineup, but without Giddey there was just more opportunity and more shots for others to take, and they did. And it was a Kevin Huerter revenge game. Fanapants played 37 minutes. He had 25, 5 and 7, 4 steals and a block. It's an unbelievably good game. It's a fantastic game. Well done to him, and you stream him as long as he is playing 30-plus minutes a night. Also, our GOAT, Vooch, was able to cook 24, 14 and 8. Big 64% shooting. Really good last couple of games from Vooch after, obviously, a stinking run. Good stuff. Kobe White continues his dominance. He was awesome, getting 14 free throw attempts, hitting 13 of them. He had 35 and 5 assists. That's great. The other stuff, a little iffy. Surely nobody is holding Zach Collins anymore. You can move on from that. And surely you don't hold on to Matas Buzelis, who played 15 minutes and was replaced at halftime by Julian Phillips. Buzelis had 5 points, but that was still better than what Julian Phillips dished up, who had 2 points in his 27 minutes. And then we had 29 useless minutes from Patrick Williams. The Bulls just said, all right, let's collect all of the power forwards who do nothing. Although, to be fair, I think Buzelis might be able to do something, but the way he's being sort of maneuvered or managed at the moment is pretty frustrating. You're not rostering any of those dudes. Late in the game, Trey Jones went to the locker room. He did not return. It was very late, though, so we'll see where we come from that. 15, 4 and 7 with 2 steals. But what will happen now is if Jones is out, Giddey will move into the point guard slot, and that will keep Kevin Huerter starting. And that's what I said. If Kevin Huerter is able to keep 30 minutes, we roster him. If he's a 24-minute-a-night player, we don't. And Giddey returning and Jones going out keeps Huerter status quoing into that role, which, again, somehow is going to make, after being a complete afterthought all season, it's somehow going to make him relevant. Let's talk about the Kings. They brought back Zach LaVine after the one-day personal absence, and it was his revenge game as well, and he proceeded to score 8 points. And this is the perfect encapsulation of when I talk about revenge games not being real, because I know someone will go, I thought you said they're not real, Josh. Look at Kevin Huerter. What I have always said, the revenge game phenomenon as a betting, fantasy, DFS angle is not a real thing. It's not a real thing. Some players against their former team will have big games. Kevin Huerter. Some players against their former teams will score 8 points in 33 minutes on 22% shooting. Zach LaVine. Some players against their former team will score 22 points on 22 shots. DeMar DeRozan. Also go 50% from the line and be well below average output. Which, again, leads to the conclusion of, meaning it doesn't mean anything. It's not a real phenomenon that you can exploit anywhere. Because it's easy to pick out the ones that are good, but there's equally as many, if not more, that are bad, meaning the overall net result is that there's no actionable information here. Laravia was back. Actually, I think he might be a good player at Laravia. 10, 7 and 3 in 22 minutes, while Keegan had 10 and 9, and Trey Lyles was the winner of the center battle here, and that gives us, and this is another one of those things that I've sort of developed this season. I haven't fully worked the wording of the rule out. But if Jonas Valanciunas plays 15 minutes in a matchup against Nikola Vukcevic, then and your downside is playing 15 minutes, then I don't care. Then I am not interested. I want an ability to have a solid enough floor on these sort of guys. If you're going to play 30 minutes a night and some nights play 25, I'm good with that. That's really good. If your downside is a 6 and 5 night in 15 minutes, then get out of here. Then that is a stream level player and not a hold. The same goes with Trey Lyles, who was great. 22, 6, and 3 with 4 threes. That's a lovely game. He shot 55%, which is not a real thing for him, and he shot 60, he shot 6 of 6 from the line. Again, great. But will he play 24 minutes? Will he score 22 points? Probably not. His downside is probably 19 minutes. Not enough. And otherwise, you just go back and forth and go, well, today I'm going to go with Valanciunas. Well, now he was bad. Let's go with Lyles. Well, he was bad. Now go to Valanciunas. Now you could make a guess and say, well, next game they play Brook Lopez and the Bucks. Is JV's big, slow-ass body slow enough and big enough to take on Lopez? Or is the speed and nimbleness of Trey Lyles more useful? And you could, again, you're getting yourself into another man's head, trying to figure out the way Doug Christie goes. I can make an argument either way. You go, yeah, match like for like. Lopez is slow, so JV can cook down there, and we don't have to worry about him getting outplayed. Or we go, hey, let's try and exploit Brook and get fast out onto the perimeter. Let's get a bit of spacing out there, and let's move him around, get him out of the paint. And either one of those, you could say, I see how both of those work. So in the end, these guys just become, streamer, we'll see what happens, and we don't lock in and hold on. When your downside becomes so low, like with Valanciunas here, it's so hard to just hold when there is a cornucopia of stream options that are available to us on a game-by-game or back-to-back by back-to-back basis. Keon Ellis played 18 minutes. He went scoreless. Yeah, we're moving on. Very obviously, if he starts, you stream him. If he doesn't, you don't. Bye-bye. And I don't think anything else is going on there. Devin Carter, off his career game, had 4 points in 20 minutes. That's not very good. Now we look at the next game, and there are some interesting implications in this game. The Warriors beat the Raptors 117-114. Jakob Poeltl returned. Colin Castleton moved to the bench. Ochai Agbaji moved back into the starting lineup, and Jamison Battle went back to the bench. The bigger ramifications, or actually there's two big things on either side of this game. And we'll start with the Raptors side of things, because we've talked about this for a while, how they have got this unbelievable schedule in terms of what on earth are these opponents they're facing. But the Warriors was one of the only teams that they played. I think they had 2 teams that they played who were good teams coming up. The Warriors were one of them, and then they've got a run of just like some of the worst possible teams you could imagine. They go Spurs, Wizards, Nets, Hornets, Sixers, Bulls, Blazers. Then they got the Pistons. Then it's Nets, Hornets, Mavericks, Spurs. So I don't know where I said this. I said it somewhere. I don't know where. I might have written on Basketball One, so I might have said it on the show. I don't remember. But I said, hey, this is realistically, maybe the only, or one of the only chances here for the Raptors to actually play their guys in a sort of normal rotation against a team that's probably going to beat them anyway. And that's really what they did. Their next game is a Spurs Wizards back-to-back. So let's be fair, you're not getting good games out of them across those games. What we saw in this one, though, it leads to these issues, right? So we got apart from Brandon Ingram, of course, and RJ Barrett was actually still out of this one, but Scotty Barnes played 34 minutes. He's been playing 28 a night. He had 29, 10, and 6. That's a huge game. Emmanuel Quickley, 21, 4, and 8 with 3 steals. I think he's going to have an unbelievable season next season. I hope. Anyway, we'll see. Jakob Poeltl, 18 and 8, 2 blocks. These are unbelievably good games. But then the guys, all the absolute spuds we've been relying upon, just didn't do anything. In fact, old mate Orlando Robinson, who I think has been playing really well, DNP CD. And that's the second time that's happened this week. And honestly, talk about getting inside others' heads. I don't know how I could have looked at this, and I've got a theory, but I don't know how I could have looked at this necessarily and gone, yeah, he's probably just going to get 0 minutes. My theory is that Robinson is signed to a full contract, and now at the end of the season, he's a restricted free agent. So the Raptors have the full restricted free agent rights. They can offer him the restricted tender. So he's got something happening next season, and they've probably talked to him about that. Colin Castleton is on a second 10-day deal. And they've said this a few weeks ago. They said they're going to just be cycling through and just seeing if anyone can stick. And a few of these guys have. So did they just say, okay, in this game, we're going to play all the other guys, give them like a swan songy type of performance, play them all together, and we just want to see what Castleton can do against a good team. I do not think that this means that now Robinson is just out of the rotation. I don't think that's what that means. I don't know that theory is correct. I'm just trying to figure out why a guy that's played as well as he has would just get DMP'd. That I don't get that. I do think that it's like they are seeing what Castleton can do in this scenario. They know they've got Robinson and they've got him for next season. And this is for Champagny as well, by the way, in Washington, who's got 2 more non-guaranteed years on his contract. So they go like, you're here, man. Like, we know you're good. Let's try something else. I think that might be part of that. I don't know, though. I don't know. That's just like a theory that I worked on today with someone brought something up and they said, I can't believe these teams are stopping players getting contracts. But, I don't think they are, actually. I think they're trying to see the guys who don't have contracts and see whether they're worth a contract. And the guys that do have the contracts, they're saying, hey, you'll be back doing more of this later. We'll just see the other guys. I don't know that that's true. That all comes down to the question is, hey, did you add Orlando Robinson? I am very, very sorry if you did. I did not. My theory comes from seeing this, which is not a thing that I thought would happen. Right? So, but I've got to try and make sense of it. So I'm sorry I got that wrong. I thought that he would play 24 minutes because he had in other games that Poeltl had played. But he didn't. So the question is, what do? Do you drop him? They, like I said, they play a back-to-back, a Spurs-Wizards back-to-back on the weekend. Do you think that Orlando Robinson's going to get DMP'd across those games? They're also the final 2 games of Colin Castleton's second 10-day contract. I don't think that Orlando will get DMP'd there. I think that Poeltl's missing at least one of those games. Maybe both. So that is up to you whether you drop him, and I get it, the frustration's there, but always remember this. If you drop him now, that's happened. You don't get to take it off and replace him with somebody else who played today. You can't do that. Now it's about, hey, where does it make sense for me now? The problem here, again, another problem is that now you got 2 days with zero games for them. They don't play till Sunday, so I would get moving on. But I wouldn't be hesitating to re-add, because I do think that is not a sign of the way they're going to roll with this as we move forward. Battle still got 33 off the bench. He had 14 with 4 threes. Castleton didn't do much, 7 and 3 with 2 steals. But like I said, I do think in these 2 games on Sunday, Monday, he will do a lot more because they change the way they want to approach those games versus bad teams. And AJ Lawson only played 10 minutes. We've seen the rise of Jared Rhoden. We've seen the rise of AJ Lawson. We've seen the fall of these guys. You're going to have Jacoby Walter return, and you're going to have some Dick later on as well, I'm guessing, at some point. And it's just going to continue to be a very, very, very messy rotation that is going to adjust a lot. So just, again, be aware of that. And if you wanted to drop Orlando with no games in the next 2 days, I get it. But I don't think this is a sign that he's now out of the rotation player. I don't think that is the case. But, of course, I thought he would play today, so I was wrong there, and I can be wrong again. On the other side of it, the Golden State Warriors, we saw them back to full strength. Steph Curry returned, Quinton Post moved to the bench, but alas, Steph Curry left. He fell hard, on his back, on his ass, on his coccyx, and they labeled it pelvic contusion. Now, there are 2 ways that you can react to that. You go, oh, that's all right. His ass is bruised. Like, we're good. Or you can go, Josh, they're playing the Raptors. Emmanuel quickly had a pelvic contusion and he was out for 5 weeks. And that is also true. And the thing is, with contusions through the bone, you have no idea how severe it is. It is an incredibly painful and swollen thing. And in your pelvis, that sucks, man. We're not talking about a bruise on the edge of your skin. Hey, look at my ass cheek. It's got a big bruise on it. No. We're talking about on the bone. So the bone, the blood vessels inside the bone break and clots form. And it is bloody sore. And that's what kept quickly out for 5 weeks. So, it's also some of the issue that Jalen Suggs had. So I'm a little worried here about Steph. If Steph is out, the good thing is we can look back exactly 1 game and see what the Warriors' rotation looked like without Steph. And I wouldn't say that anyone stood out that we needed to grab. Buddy Hield was a little bit better, so maybe you consider him a streamer. We definitely latch onto Podziemski. Kuminga's sort of doing his thing. But I don't know that there's much that really steps up. It just means that Quinton Post moves probably back into the starting lineup in that particular arrangement. Draymond, what is going on with this guy? 21, 7 and 5, 5 threes and 4 steals for Green. Jim Butler, a triple-double, 16, 11 and 12. And then old Postman Pat had 18 with 6 threes. So he is a nice deeper league option. This was a better game from Kuminga. I wouldn't say it's still overwhelmingly good. 16, 4 and 3 with 2 steals is not bad. And then Podziemski had 15 points and Moody had just 4 in 27 and Hield had 8. I would be interested in putting Moody into the 12-team streamers. I would make sure Podziemski is rostered and Post is more of a 14-team league guy. And Kuminga to me is a streamy 12-team league guy for categories and probably a must in points leagues. But now we wait to see what the actual, not issue, because I know what the diagnosis is. I just wait to see if they give any sort of time frame on how long Steph is going to be out, which obviously sucks a lot. All right, let's go to the final game of the day. The Milwaukee Bucks cooked the Lakers 118-89. Damian Lillard took this opportunity to sit out with calf soreness. He had a calf injury all season. Obviously, the Lakers, we'll talk about in a sec, they had no one playing, so it was easy enough for him to have that game off. So with him out, they didn't start Kevin Porter. They just played Ryan Rollins, who'd been out of the rotation. 29 minutes for Rollins, 10 points, 2 threes, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Of course, 3 thefts from Ryan Rollins. Also grabbed a block and 3 steals and had 27% shooting on I'll never get sick of that. 100% shooting from the line. Rollins, look, obviously that's streamable. If we knew that Lillard was missing, we go with that. I thought we'd get way more out of Kevin Porter. Instead, he just did like the same role, but way worse. All right. That's a weird one. 3 points in 17 minutes for cousin Kev with 4 rebounds. Brookie Lopez was fine, 11 and 7. Gaz Trent popped off, 23 with 6 threes and 2 steals. You know what the story is with Trent. Just don't trust it. Try the single gamer, see if it works. If it doesn't, you go, yeah, it's carried Trent. Of course it didn't work. If it does, you go, bloody hell, that's found money. And then you move on to the next guy. Big Boom AJ had 6 points, and then Kuz, 20 points. Cool. Did he get a steal or a block? Of course he didn't. What about his free throws? They must have been good. No, they weren't. He shot 2 of 5 from the line. So yeah, Kuzma just doing whatever he can to entice you with the flashy scoring and then say, no, everything else is trash, so don't worry about the rest. I don't care about that. Not good enough. Still doesn't do anything apart from being a 12-team streamer. Not a must-roster guy in my mind. Yanni, what did he do? 28, 7, and 4 with 2 steals and a block. That's cool. Let's talk about the Lakers because what are we going to do? Because there was no Austin Reeves, rest. No Luka Doncic, rest. No Dorian Finney-Smith, rest. No LeBron James, injury to groin. No Rui Hachimura. What did he have? Knee injury. No Jared Vanderbilt bar. Out. Every single one of these players is going to play in the next game. LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Rui, Finney-Smith, Vanderbilt, they're all going to be back. So I can sit here and go, wow, Jordan Goodwin, he had 8 and 5 and 2 blocks. He's been really good, but we're going to introduce 2 more players to the rotation. Not sure you want to hold. Dalton Connect, 17 and 4. Okay, 3 threes, whatever. Nice game. You streamed him. Good for you. Jackson Hayes, only 16 minutes. They sort of soft rested him. He did have 4 fouls as well. I would still hold for now. We got Markieff Morris starting. 9 points in 28 minutes. But the story is, how about the big fella, Bronny James? LeBron James Jr., 17 points, 30 minutes, 2 threes, 5 assists, and a block shot, 70%. His G League numbers, very good. He's going to be, I think, a rotation NBA player. The player that I comped him to when he came out of the draft, again, we discussed it a lot, because he's Bronny James. Said, look, I think he's an NBA player. Obviously had a terrible year in college for many reasons, health-related, and then his play wasn't that good, understandably. But I said, look, can he become like a Patrick Beverley sort of a guard, a real smart defensive player who's got some offensive upside? That's sort of where I sat with him, and it's just going to take time. I don't do sports betting. I'm not a sports bettor. I've got a couple of bets that I've bet, and one of them, I tweeted this out today. I've got Dyson Daniels for most improved player. And I put $50 on him at $15, so there's like $750 payout or whatever. He's into second favorite in that award, and they've offered me a cash out of $200. I don't think I'm going to take it. I don't think Dyson's going to win it. I think Cade's going to win it. I, of course, think Dyson should win it because as much as I love what Cade has done, Dyson's gone from a ninth man rotation player to a all defensive team first team guy who might be runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to lead the league in steals, going to play 30 minutes a night and be a surefire starter. That's unbelievable to me. But that's beside the point. I don't bet on sports very much at all. Hardly ever. But as soon as all these Lakers went out, I went, all right, let's go. Bronny James, points prop overs. What are they? His points line was 6.5. I smashed it. He also had another one. Hey, Bronny James paying $3.80 to score 10 plus more. Let's go. And that's it. I retire from sports betting for this year. Hit both of those. We're done. I don't know. That seemed pretty obvious to me that LeBron James Jr. was going to hit those numbers. And that's honestly, I just wanted to brag because I don't do sports betting. I don't bet on sports like that. But that one I did. And it worked out all right. Anyway, what do you take out of it from the Lakers side? Like, literally nothing. There is going to be 7 players returning next game. It is a throwaway game because they had all of the rescheduled games due to the fires. 6 games, 8 nights. They needed to preserve. They're all coming back. Throw it away. What about Monstrous Line of the Night? Shall we do that? Yeah, let's do it. The Monstrous Line of the Night, I spoiled it earlier. I didn't know it was going to end this way, but Miles Turner gets 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks. But in the revenge game line of the night, which is also the waiver wire line of the night, it's Fan of Pants Kevin Huerter. Just an outrageously good game. Trey Jones has got that foot injury. I think he will miss, so Huerter's value can maintain. The young gun of the night. It's not Bronny. I wanted it to be. It's not going to be Bronny. The young gun is Quinton Post. 18 points, 6 triples, and a block. And your dud of the night. Like, it has to be. It was going to be Keon Ellis, but I thought, no. So I'm not going to do Keon. I'm going to do Orlando Robinson. Because you're 76% rostered on Basketball Monster, and then you don't get into the game. That's a dud. That's on me. That's bad. And that's it. We'll be back tomorrow to do previews for Saturday. We're rolling all the way through to the end of the season. Don't worry. And then when the regular season's over, I'm still here. We're still doing stuff. It'll be fun. Guys, hit the sub button. Hit the, I don't know. Maybe we don't have a sub button. Maybe I should get one of those. But also hit the subscribe. Hit the thumb up. Leave your comments, audio, video. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.